Hey everyone, thank you so much for joining us for this webinar, Decode Your Digestion, the real root causes of gut issues and how to finally heal for good. I'm Vanessa Cohn. If we haven't met, I'm an integrative health practitioner, a nutrition coach, and a personal trainer, and my work focuses on helping people with body imbalances. I believe that illness, disease, weight gain all happens when the body is overwhelmed with environmental toxins, the wrong types of bacteria, stressful and traumatic events, viruses, and so on, to bring the body out of balance into a state of chaos and illness. And what I do with my clients is I use functional testing, targeted nutrition, targeted supplement, and lifestyle changes to help bring their body back to balance, taking out the bad and implementing more of the good. Because our bodies are naturally made to heal and balance on their own, we just have to give them what they need in order to do so. This is just a little bit of an overview of what we are going to go over today. And my goal is to help you understand why your gut and even your body feels off and what you can do to finally start healing naturally and sustainably. You're here because what you've been doing isn't working. You're here probably because you're feeling sensations, bloating, symptoms that you can't necessarily place or understand. You think that you might have food sensitivities, but you can't quite pinpoint what food is setting off those symptoms or causing those rashes or making you bloated. You're here because you're curious on how to heal and fix your own problems. And I'm so glad you're here. We're going to get into it. We'll cover what is really going on beneath the surface, what testing can reveal, and the role of food and lifestyle and how you can take the next steps if you're ready for deeper help. All right, let's start with the holistic view of gut health. Many people will just focus on the symptom or symptoms that are giving them the most grief, and they're not necessarily looking at the gut and the body as a full picture. So let me teach you a little bit about the gut-brain axis and how the brain is deeply and intricately connected to your digestive system. The brain is connected to the gut through the vagus nerve, which is a very important nerve that has a lot of important functions in the body. It's responsible for whenever you're nervous about something and you have butterflies in your stomach or you have a knot in your stomach. That is the connection of the brain, whatever nervousness that you feel, to the gut. And that's why you feel that sensation in the gut. That's why we use phrases like gut feeling, is because the gut has a lot of nerves in it as well. It has almost as many nerves as the spinal cord. That's why we also say the phrase, trust your gut. Your gut can sense things. It has sensory neurons, and it's so connected to the brain. And when we say trust your gut, I think it's pretty reliable. Other reasons why the gut is not separate from the rest of your body is that neurotransmitters, which are basically brain chemicals and brain signals, those are produced in your gut. They signal the brain, they signal other parts of the body. Your gut has most of your immune system. Within the cells of your gut lining, there's also hormones that are tied to your gut health, like estrogen, progesterone, cortisol, serotonin, your thyroid. All of that is connected to your gut. Also, can't separate the gut from the rest of the body because it's so connected. We're going to talk about leaky gut. You might have heard the term before. You can also use it interchangeably with the term intestinal permeability. Basically, what that means is there's a compromised gut lining. So I'll take you through the 3 stages of gut health. On the left over here, if you follow my cursor, there are healthy cells. This is your gut lining. This is your bloodstream. And this is the GALT, the gut-associated lymphoid tissue. Basically, you digest your food. It gets absorbed into these microvilli. That's what gives you such a large surface area in the gut. And then it goes and takes the beneficial nutrients from your food and goes through the bloodstream to go to the rest of the body, because those nutrients are used for building blocks, for building protein, for healing, for building muscle, for repairing, for living life. Your body takes information from food to do things in your body. And then in the middle here, we have a gut with dysbiosis. So basically, dysbiosis is an imbalance of gut bacteria. There's more bad than good. And we'll talk more about that in later slides. But when your gut has dysbiosis, that bacteria, the things that are not supposed to be there, start to damage your gut tissue. You see these little spikes, some are shorter than the other, some are longer. That shows some slight damage. And the spaces in between the cells, those are called tight junctions. They're not looking very tight. There's a little damage. And that actually allows for some bacteria, viruses, particles of food that are undigested to slip through into the bloodstream and into other parts of the body. And that's where we get inflammatory responses. If your gut is even worse off and you have full-on leaky gut, your cells are weak. They're allowing bacteria into the bloodstream. They're allowing bacteria into the body, and it has what's called an inflammatory response. This is where you're going to experience joint pain if you have food sensitivities. You'll have rashes. If leaky gut is tied to autoimmunity, and autoimmunity is a condition when your body's immune system attacks itself. So this is what it looks like when someone with autoimmunity is struggling with, let's say they're having a flare that day. Their digestive system is so compromised that their body is reacting and attacking everything that comes through. And there's pain, there's inflammation, there's hair loss, there's all sorts of autoimmune diseases, and it's related to the gut. And because we talked about over 70% of your immune system lives in the gut, if your gut is compromised, your immune system is either always going to be firing because there's something to fire about, and it's going to be damaged and compromised to not give you a good enough immune response to help your body fight this sickness. So wherever you are on the spectrum, I'm going to teach you how to identify leaky gut patterns and start to heal and reverse the damage done to your gut. All right, we're going to pause for a quick little myth buster. So a lot of people in the country are taking PPIs or proton pump inhibitors for things like gastroesophageal reflux disease, GERD, as it's commonly known, or even just acid reflux. The acid reflux, when you're feeling a burning sensation come up to your throat, there's a myth that it's caused by too much stomach acid. So people are prescribed acid blocking medications to fix the problem, when the truth is the reflux is caused by low stomach acid, slow digestion, or gut imbalances. When stomach acid is low, food will sit in your stomach for too long, and it creates bloating pressure that pushes acid upward. Let me put your attention to these pictures. So this is a picture of a healthy gut, and I want to point out the sphincter. So the sphincter is the joint where the esophagus meets the stomach. It only opens in a healthy person when food is going in or when food is coming up and out when you have to vomit. In a person with GERD or acid reflux, the sphincter opens at random times and doesn't follow the rules. And it opens when it's not supposed to, allowing stomach acid to float up the esophagus and give you that heartburn sensation. And the sphincter can be in that position even for things like stress. If you're stressed out, your stomach feels weird, you have more heartburn when you're stressed because the sphincter, which is controlled by that vagus nerve that we talked about a couple slides before, and it's related to your nervous system health. We're going to talk more about that later too. But if this is the case that you have chronic reflux, acid blockers lower your stomach acid even more. So if it's not stopping the sphincter from opening, you're going to have even lower stomach acid coming up to your esophagus. It can make your digestion even worse. And people with low stomach acid trying to take a proton pump inhibitor to make their stomach acid even lower. Another issue is that you're not going to be absorbing your nutrients as much, because if your stomach acid isn't at the right place, it's not going to break down your food the right way. You miss out on some nutrients. It'll also affect your gut health to have super low stomach acid for many, many years. So what I do that's different, I look deeper at stomach acid production, H. pylori, digestive enzymes, stress, and the overall gut environment to actually resolve the root cause and not mask the symptoms. If you have stomach acid issues, if you have reflux problems, taking a PPI is not going to solve the root cause. It's just going to make your stomach acid lower, which might not be good for you because it might be low in the first place. What I like to do is look at the whole person. Where's the stress coming from in your life? Could your body use some support when it comes to digestion? Maybe you need help producing enzymes so that your food can be broken down properly. Maybe you need to start eating slowly. Maybe you need to start chewing your food more so that it's smaller and then it gets through the digestive system better. Maybe we need to reduce stress. All of these factors are things that we consider before slapping a band-aid on something. Common signs that your gut is struggling. So we've already established that the gut is central to so much. Your symptoms from the gut can actually show up the rest of your body. If you have bloating or fullness after meals, that is related to air in your gut. We just talked about food fermenting in the stomach. Your food can also ferment in the small intestine, causing bloating as well. You could have irregular bowel movements, whether it's constipation, diarrhea, or a combination of both. That's a sign that your gut is messed up. Fatigue and brain fog because of the brain and gut connection. Your focus or inability to focus is related to your gut health. You might have food sensitivities that are predictable or maybe not predictable. Food sensitivities or intolerances can look like dairy, gluten, soy, shellfish, peanuts, corn, so on and so forth. That can cause issues for people. But for people with food sensitivities, if you work on your gut health and you heal your gut wall back to the nice original state, you can actually eliminate those food sensitivities and continue eating those foods again if you want. Gut health is related to skin issues, acne, eczema, rosacea, because the gut is the immune system, and the immune system will react to things. If the body deems it a threat, it's going to react. Anxiety or mood swings also tied to gut health, because remember, neurotransmitters or brain signals, brain chemicals are produced in the gut. And then hormone imbalances and weight loss resistance are related to gut health as well. So this is just a broad overview and a broad list, but there's so much related to people's health that is tied to the gut. And anytime that you have these symptoms, I don't want you to mask them or cover them up with something over the counter or a medication. They're actually a signal. They're messages from your body saying, hey, pay attention. Something's not right here. Something is out of balance. I want you to lean in and figure out, dig deep, what's going on with me. They're trying to protect you. Any symptom or discomfort that you feel is your brain and your body trying to signal to you that something's wrong and to pay attention. Think of it like a check engine light in your car. It's a blaring sign that something under the hood needs to be looked at. Same thing with your gut. If you're having these symptoms chronically or even randomly, something is off and you need to pay attention. So there are many causes of gut problems. And I'm not going to go over this whole entire list, but we are going to talk about some of them today with some pictures. These are the root causes of gut issues. I'm going to break down most of them so you understand what could possibly be causing yours. And I want you to look at the bigger picture. And again, I want you to move away from how do I stop this one symptom? How do I stop that one symptom? And look at a bigger picture. If the check engine light is on in your body, you want to dig deeper and see if this, and this are all happening around the same time. I want to look deeper and see what could be behind that. Once you fix the root issue, then all of those symptoms will resolve. Cool, right? All right. One of the root causes has to do with digestion itself. So this is just a graphic of the digestive system. Digestion actually starts in the mouth when your salivary glands secrete digestive enzymes to break down your food, starting in the mouth. So it's very important that you chew your food carefully. If there is a disruption in the breakdown of food in any of this long train of processes, that is your root cause that's causing a digestive problem. So we already talked about low stomach acid causing things to sit in the stomach for too long, and you're not breaking down your food, and your food starts to ferment and off gas. That's where you're going to get some bloating sensation and belching. Sluggish bile. So down here, this little green thing attached to the liver secretes a bile, which helps you break down fatty-based foods. If that's not working correctly and it's not releasing that correctly, you're going to have issues with digestion. You're going to have issues with bloating. You're going to feel fatigued and sluggish. And it's also when your stool comes out, your stool is going to appear like it's floating on top of the water. That means that your fats were not digested correctly. And then another thing can happen in the stomach or in the small intestine is a lack of digestive enzymes. Digestive enzymes help you break down the nutrients in your food as you go through the digestive process so that your body can absorb the good stuff and get rid of the bad stuff. If you don't have enough of those things, those chemicals that break down your food, you're going to have what's called malabsorption. You're not absorbing the nutrients from your food. So you can be eating super healthy. You could be eating everything correctly, but if your digestion doesn't take in those nutrients, it's not going to help your body because you're not getting them anyway. Lack of digestive enzymes can also cause gas, bloating, and eventually nutrient deficiencies. Another root cause is dysbiosis. I'm going to define this again for you guys. And it is an imbalance of gut bacteria. There's more bad than good. And in this image on the right here, you can sort of see some of the names of the bad bacteria that will overtake the gut. There's an imbalance of bad and good. So bacteria and yeast, like candida, like as in this image here, can populate in the gut and it can actually take over. And if you have too much candida, where the beneficial bacteria of your gut isn't able to keep up with the infection, it's going to overgrow. We don't want overgrowth of these things. SIBO is another one, small intestinal bacterial overgrowth. So the bad bacteria in the small intestine grows to be too big or grows to be too many, taking over the good and causing things like bloating, distension, discomfort, weird stools, either loose stools or constipation can come from dysbiosis. Another root cause of dysbiosis is the overuse of antibiotics. When we get sick and we take antibiotics, what the antibiotics do is it destroys all the bacteria, not just the bad stuff, but the good stuff too. And when things start to grow back in your digestive system, things can happen where too much bad bacteria grows back and not enough good. And there's an imbalance that way. And if you have a really rough year and you're sick multiple times and you're on antibiotics multiple times, that's when it gets really bad because it kills all of the good. Again, it kills all the good bacteria and the bad bacteria. And sometimes it takes longer and it's harder for the good bacteria to grow back the way that they were so that they can keep up your immune system and keep your gut healthy. All right, here's the graphic image of the parasites. I'm so sorry if you did not want to see that. Another root cause of gut issues are pathogens. There are multiple pathogens, one of them being parasites. And it's a myth that only third world countries get parasites because if we don't wash our food and vegetables, parasites could be on there. If you eat raw food like sushi, parasites can be on top of that. And you can ingest it and it will survive the digestion until it gets to your intestines and it'll start to grow and it actually can repopulate and grow families of their own, unfortunately, in there. And you can have a lot of issues with parasites. Now, parasites can drive your sugar cravings. They are more active at night and they're more active around the full moon. So if you often have poor sleep around the full moon, you have crazy cravings or even emotional symptoms, that is due in part to parasites in your digestive system more active. I like to do some full moon parasite cleanses quarterly personally with some herbs, and we can talk more about that later. Other causes of pathogens that cause gut problems are Lyme disease, mold illness, and Epstein-Barr virus. They're starred because the presence of those viruses and bacteria and mold in your gut can actually cause your gut to be weakened, and it can develop all of these other root cause issues. So they're complicated. Lyme disease comes from a tick. Epstein-Barr virus is the virus that causes mono, and mold illness can be caused from any type of mycotoxins or toxins from mold, one of them being aspergillus. There's others that can affect us as well. But they can either set the ground for gut problems or they can be the root cause. So they're special and they can do a lot of damage. And then there's hidden pathogens. And in parentheses, I have the word biofilm. And I wanted to just explain that. So when bacteria or viruses or bugs in general, candida, start to populate in your gut and multiply, they create a protective film over their colonies to keep things from killing them and destroying them. It keeps them alive. It's a protective mechanism and it allows them to grow and spread across your gut. It's disgusting. It is absolutely gross. So in the process of healing the gut, you actually have to take herbals and microbials to break down that biofilm so that you can actually get to the bacteria and kill it. Another root cause of gut problems is your lifestyle. The choices that you make every single day will add up and contribute to a healthy lifestyle or an unhealthy lifestyle. And one of those things is alcohol. Alcohol destroys the gut lining. So if you're chronically drinking alcohol, you're also likely going to have health problems related to your gut. Stress. I've already talked about the stress gut brain connection. That can also destroy your gut as well. If you're stressed, your sphincter from your esophagus to your stomach isn't going to work as well, and you're going to have acid reflux. You're not going to be absorbing your food well. It's just a snowball effect when you have chronic stress in your life destroying your gut. Sugars, fake sugars and real sugars can harm the gut. Specifically, sucralose is a very, very common artificial sugar in many processed foods on the shelves. Sucralose is known to cause intestinal permeability and contribute to intestinal permeability. So be really careful reading those labels: maltodextrin, dextrins of all kinds, sucralose. Watch out for all of those. It's important to start reading labels and familiarizing yourself with those names, and maybe finding an alternative of something that you like that doesn't have those materials or those ingredients in there. And then another cause of gut health is toxin overload. Again, when we're eating lots of processed foods with random chemicals that our body actually was never made to process, we start to get issues with our gut. The chemicals that can't fully be broken down can damage the gut lining, and we start to move more into that dysbiotic type of gut. All right, back to this picture. I wanted to bring your attention back to it because we talked about a lot of different pathogens and bacteria and viruses and toxins that can impact our gut and bring our gut from this healthy part to this state, and then even further on to this state. And all of the things that we just talked about in the last few slides, they do compound and they can all happen at the same time. Let me give you an example. So let's say one of the root causes is low stomach acid. From stress, from environmental toxins, your stomach acid is low, so your food is not digesting properly. Then you'll start to feel bloated and acid reflux. Two uncomfortable symptoms. You have low stomach acid for a long time, you just deal with it, you just live with it. And because your stomach acid is so low, you're not absorbing your nutrients from your food, and you're starting to have some nutrient deficiencies from that. From there, your gut and your intestines are a nice, happy, habitable place for parasites to grow. So the next time you go grab sushi with your friend, you've got some living organisms on there, and they start to grow and populate within your gut. They make friends with the bacteria that came in on that salad that you ate, and they're living as neighbors in your gut and starting to populate and building a biofilm over them. In the meantime, while all of that is happening, your gut is going from here to here and closer to here. We don't want you to get into that chaos. Multiple of these issues can exist in your gut at the same time. They're intertwined, and it's important to see what's going on in the gut. That's why I recommend some sort of gut testing. So there's two that I mainly recommend. There is this top one. It's called the organic acids, or OAT, and it tests your urine. You pee in a cup, you send it into a lab, and it gives you 12 plus pages, 70 plus markers of information. It looks at your neurotransmitters, mold metabolites, fungus, energy, how your detox is doing, and your metabolic function as well. It basically shows how your gut is connecting to your brain and how your detoxification pathways can be working. The other one I recommend is the GI map, or the stool test. You will take your stool, send it into a lab, and it looks at bacterial imbalances, inflammation, infections. It can give you information on which parasite, bacterial, and virus strains are in your digestive system so that you can start addressing them and killing them off and taking them out of your body. And it gives you a really good snapshot of your gut's ecosystem. By measuring your body's waste, it gives you a snapshot of what the digestive environment looks like. Whatever's coming out gives you a sense of what's still in there. It's just a broad picture, but it gives you a sense of what is in there and what you still need to work on. So this is the gut health protocol that I take people on. There's 4 steps to rebalancing and healing the gut. Many dietary and lifestyle factors can affect your digestive health and contribute to a number of health conditions. So the goal of these 4 Rs is to minimize the factors that lead to intestinal permeability and inflammation, as well as introduce factors to help heal your digestive system and improve your gut health. So we'll go through the 4 Rs. R number 1, remove. You want to identify and eliminate potential triggers contributing to gut issues and inflammation. If you wanted to do any sort of gut testing, that's an option for you. So you can actually see where the imbalances are, what we need to focus on. You can see that come up on the test, and you can start addressing those infections and those imbalances, whether that means you need to start a protocol where you kill the bad bacteria with certain microbial supplements and certain herbs. That'll be that phase of the process. You'll also be removing foods that exacerbate your gut issues. I recommend most people go on a short elimination diet, because if we stop introducing foods to the gut that the gut is reacting to, it gives the digestive system a break and a chance to heal and repair. So short-term eliminating foods like gluten, dairy, soy, corn, nuts, all of the big triggers that activate people's digestive system in the wrong way, we want to take them out for a period of time and give the gut a break. There always is space to return them and try them out later to see if it gives the same result. Part 2 of the 4 Rs is to replace. So we want to take out those foods, eliminate them for a period of time, and replace them with foods that are going to be nourishing for the gut. Good bacteria. We want to have fiber, which helps bulk up your stool in a healthy way. We want lean protein. We want healthy fats. We want herbs and spices, because this allows the gut to heal. And once you can start reabsorbing nutrients again, your body's going to take that, because it's been so starved from not being able to absorb them before. It's going to take that nutrition and nourishment that you give it and start to heal even more. This is where your symptoms will start to disappear. You'll feel less inflamed, less bloated, as your body takes the nutrients that it's finally given and starting to use them to repair in the body. Part 3 is reinoculate. So once we destroy the bad bacteria, we also want to put in good bacteria, like healthy probiotic supplements that are going to be beneficial. We don't want to throw random probiotics at the gut, because that can actually make things worse. We want to put targeted bacterial support to restore balance to the gut microbiome. We want to boost the immune system, and that will overall boost your well-being, your energy, your brain fog will disappear. You won't be bloated anymore, so on and so forth. And then part 4 of the gut health protocol is to finish supporting the repair and the restoration of the intestinal lining to prevent intestinal permeability from happening in the future. And we do that with some healing and sealing herbs to really make sure that the gut lining is healed and robust. We want to have it full, and we want those tight junctions to be tight junctions and have a healthy mucosal layer, so that our immune system can be healthy, our gut can be healthy, and we won't have those symptoms anymore. So this is the roadmap that I use to take people to fix their guts. Now, a note on autoimmune disease. One of my Hashimoto's clients had some terrible gut issues, sleep issues, and all of that. And we tested her thyroid antibodies, which a thyroid antibody indicates how much of the gut is influencing the attack on the thyroid. And her markers were the highest I'd ever seen, in the 900s. And we did this gut protocol with her. And in about 4 months, she went from 900 something to about 200 something. And we were just so proud of the progress that she made. And there's still some ways to go, but she did so much work on gut healing that her antibodies for her thyroid started to go down exponentially. And her symptoms are pretty much gone for the Hashimoto's. She still has to stick to a gluten-free diet, because gluten and Hashimoto's are not friends. But she's doing a lot better, sleeping better than she ever has. And her digestive symptoms are gone. So that's just one thing that working on your gut can do. All right, now let's talk more about how you can start healing your gut, addressing the lifestyle first. Number 1, I want to say this first, because people roll their eyes when I tell them, oh, you have to reduce stress. That's important. Reducing stress is huge. While some stress is unavoidable, there are some things that you can do to make sure that you feel that your body's in balance despite everything going on around you. You need to regulate your nervous system. That's a hot button word, and no one really knows what it means, but I'm here to explain it to you. Your nervous system is the network of nerves coming from your brain and your spinal cord, and it senses things. And there's a lot of stimuli coming at us throughout the day, things that we read, watch, listen to, touch, experience. Also, the thoughts in our minds, the beliefs that we have about ourselves and the world around us and other people. All of that is important, and we filter the world through all of that. And our nervous system feels all of those things and tries to interpret it for us. And when we're feeling too much and overwhelmed, our nervous system is on alert, trying to protect us and trying to keep us safe. And when our body is on alert, some processes will actually start to slow down. One of those being digestion. When your digestion slows down because you're stressed and you're on alert, you'll start to get the symptoms like bloating and acid reflux and all of these other things. So really, you need to focus on reducing stress so your body will, in the background, digest your food appropriately, keep you safe, and keep you nourished. Now, some of the ways that you can work on your nervous system is breath work throughout the day. Another thing is chewing your food thoroughly, not inhaling your food, but chewing thoroughly. And then having a gratitude practice. Many families pray before they have a meal. Whatever religious background or non-religious background that you have, you can even say, I'm grateful for this meal. I'm grateful for fill in the blank. Just starting your meal times from a grateful place, from a peaceful place, can actually help calm your nervous system. It can give you a more positive outlook on life. It'll help you enjoy your food more and even digest your food better. Sleep is another thing that impacts your digestion. If you're not sleeping well, you're going to have more cravings. You're going to be hungry at weird times. You're going to overeat. So sleep, making sure that your sleep rhythm is regular. Wake up and sleep at the same time as best as you can every single day. Make sure you're getting 7 to 9 hours of good quality sleep also. Another lifestyle factor that can affect is reducing toxins. Changing out processed foods for more whole foods, changing out chemical cleaning or personal care products for more natural ones can help reduce your overall toxic load and help your gut heal. Another lifestyle way that you can start to work on your digestive system and your gut healing is through nutrition. The body is craving real food and real nutrients. You're not going to get nutrients from eating cookies and chips and crackers and alcohol every day. Those foods, they have a lot of calories, but they don't have a lot of nutrient values. So your cells are starving for nutrients. Some of the chemicals can't be sent to other parts of your body and signals without the right nutrients. And your organs actually need a lot of nutrients to do their jobs the best way. So you can get that from food like veggies, bone broth, wild-caught fish, grass-fed meats. You want to avoid sugar because sugar can feed the bad bacteria in your gut. It's also known that candida loves sugar. And so candida will grow on a high sugar diet. Anytime you're dealing with yeast or fungus overgrowth in the gut, you want to eliminate sugar because it feeds it. Foods like apples, bananas, blueberries, garlic, onions, asparagus, oats, so on and so forth, all have benefits to your digestive health. And you want to include them in a diet at the right time when you're trying to heal and restore your gut. I also recommend some herbal teas like slippery elm, marshmallow root tea, some sort of aloe vera juice or beverage to help seal the gut. And then chia seeds provide good gut support as well as they're rich in fiber. I also recommend doing an elimination diet. You can do that with a practitioner such as myself, someone who can guide you through an appropriate elimination diet, or if you feel pretty confident in being able to take yourself through it, there are ways and guides online. You can just look up elimination diet and start to work through that. And then I wanted to bring up supplementation. Probiotics is starred because you want to exercise caution and work with someone who knows what they're doing when it comes to taking probiotics. Because if you have SIBO or a really weird mix of gut bugs, let's say you have multiple infections and overgrowths at the same time, you don't want to just throw a random supplement or a random probiotic at it because some of the strains in that probiotic will actually make things worse for you. Some strains grow too much and there will be an overgrowth in a different way, and it's going to cause a little bit of chaos. So be careful when it comes to probiotics. And I would recommend getting testing done first before you pick a probiotic, because we don't want more overgrowth to happen in the wrong direction. The one right above the probiotic bullet point is Saccharomyces boulardii, is a strain of beneficial bacteria. That is a probiotic that you can take at any point because it is a placeholder. So what it does is, as the bad bacteria is being killed, it takes the place of that and starts to populate good, healthy bacteria there as well. And it's really good to help repopulate the gut with good bacteria after having a round of antibiotics. So that's the one that you can take at pretty much any point. But the other ones with lots of weird names on them, exercise caution. I also recommend gut soothing supplements. Now, they make some of these in blends with all of these together, like aloe vera, DGL, slippery elm, are to help soothe the gut lining and repair the gut lining. And I've recommended that to people as well. Slippery elm comes in a herbal tea form, aloe vera comes in a juice form, or you can do aloe vera shots, aloe vera pills. DGL also comes in a pill form, and then HCl. HCl is stomach acid. If you truly test for low stomach acid, I would take a little bit of that as you're starting to heal your gut in the beginning end, to give your gut the support that it needs to start breaking down your food appropriately. Another couple of supplements I recommend are glutamine and zinc carnosine, which will also heal and seal and repair the gut lining from leaky gut and damage. Digestive enzymes, I mentioned that earlier in the presentation, but they are enzymes that break down your food. When your gut is in chaos and you need just a little bit more support, digestive enzymes are a great place to start. And then I also recommend the gut cleanse protocol, which can look like the targeted supplementation that takes you through the whole process of remove, replace, reinoculate, and repair. I like to use a combination of lifestyle nutrition and supplements. And there's a lot you can do with addressing one of those at a time. But because I'm looking at the whole person, I like to recommend multiple things to work on the problem from multiple angles. So that brings me towards the end of the presentation. I wanted to just go over some key takeaways. Number one, your gut issues are rooted in deeper imbalances. They're not random symptoms. If you test and see, you might find some imbalances of stomach acid. Maybe there's pathogens. Maybe there is parasitic activity. Maybe you have a virus. You want to dig deeper and see what is at the root cause of your gut issues. Number two, healing is possible when you identify the cause and nourish properly. Once you identify what exactly is out of balance, you can start healing the gut and repairing it and bringing things back to normal. Number three, testing and personalized support makes the process faster, easier, and long-lasting. I've had to go through the gut healing process personally. I've had to go through the 4R process personally. I've had a lot of gut issues. I've done many detoxes, and my gut is in a really good spot right now to where my elimination is predictable, always on time, and if anything is off, I know what to do to fix it. That brings us to the end. Thank you so much for watching this presentation, for being a part of it. If you wanted to ask me for next steps on how to heal your gut, how to work on your gut, how to even test your gut, you can contact me at my email, vanessa@connectedhabits.com. You can find me on social media where I'm posting stuff about health and wellness. And then I also have a podcast called the Connected Health Podcast, found on Spotify, YouTube, and Apple. Thank you for watching. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being a part of the community. We'll see you next time.